Oh, you're joking.
Hi Chuckies, Cherylyn Barnsey. So I've got a story. I was meant to be going to one of my girlfriend's house. Her name's Faye. I'd go to the train station and then she'd pick me up and we'd go to her house, have a cuppa, that sort of thing, catch up. So, I went to the train station, got on the train, and then before I got to the train station, I got a SMS text message sort of thing off Faye, and it said, sorry, she's running a little bit late, got to go to the vet because my daughter's fucking dog need to get medicine for it or whatever. And I said, yeah, that's fine. I'll wait at the train station and, come and get me when you're ready. So that was cool. I got to the train station and then I walked down to the bus stop bit. And then I was sitting there and I was waiting and, and then there was this family and they would not shut the fuck up. Rah, 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 rah. I couldn't tell what country they were from, but keep it down a bit. Anyway, I'm sitting there and there was about 5 kids all up. The mother didn't even look that much older than the fucking oldest kid. But anyway, the youngest boy, he was actually gorgeous. He had this dark skin, but then he had these really light-coloured, beautiful green eyes, like mine, because I've got green eyes and that's the most rare colour of eyes in what you can get. So, yeah, it's not always blue's the best. Sometimes green's the best. So anyway, this young boy, he was adorable, and he's saying to his mum, he says, I want ice cream, can I have some ice cream? And she was a bit mean, she says, no, I'm not getting ice cream because if I have to get you ice cream, then I have to get the fucking lot of yours ice cream. It's too cold, it's the middle of winter, you're not having ice cream. And I thought, you cruel bitch. So then he was walking up and down being silly and I gave him a smile and gave me a bit of wave and I thought, all right, I've got a bit of time. So I went into the milk bar across the road and I opened up the freezer and I got Jockey Bicky Magnum or something like that and I picked it up, Magnum ice cream, and I bought it. I went across the road and when I walked up to the little boy I said, this for you, mate. Your ice cream, this for you. So then I went down on my knees and I went, and so he gave me a kiss and then his mother screams out, she says, Montel, what are you doing? And I thought, fucking Montel, what a cruel bitch, Montel. And she says, get over here. And so he runs home and she goes, what have you got? And he goes, ice cream. This fucking bitch, she snatches it out of his hand, she walks over to me, slams the Magnum down on the seat next to me and she says, no thank you. I said, yeah, well, he wanted ice cream, so I thought he should have ice cream. And she goes, I'm his mother and I can decide when he has ice cream and when he doesn't. And I told him no, so thank you very much, but no thank you. I said, fine. So she walks back over and I yelled out, don't worry mate, next time I see you I'll buy you 2 ice creams. So then the eldest daughter, she was about 15, she yells out, mind your own business. And I thought, you little bitch and that fucking mother. If Des was doing that at 15-year-olds, I'd give her a smack in the mouth. I don't give a shit. And then the mother says to the daughter, oh, just ignore her. And I thought, yeah, just ignore me, I don't give a shit. I wasn't going to let the ice cream sit there and melt sort of thing, so I picked it up and I Jockey Bicky Magnum and I was yum, yum, yum. Then I get to the end and on the stick it says, you won a free Magnum. So I thought, yes, fucking cheering. And then I looked down on my phone and there was a text message from Faye, said she was going to be about 5 minutes. So, all right, I'll duck across the milk bar and get free Magnum. Maybe Faye wants it, maybe I'll have it just before Faye gets here. So I went up to the counter and I said, hi mate, I was in here before. I just had a Magnum and on the stick it says I got a free Magnum, so I just come to get me a free Magnum. And he says, no, we don't do. I said, sorry? He says, we don't do free ice cream. I said, mate, the stick says you want a free Magnum. It's the Magnum business what says that I got to get the free one. He goes, no, we don't do it. I said, mate, I don't know what you do in your country, but this is not China. This is Australia and it's the law, so you have to give me the free Magnum. He says, no. And I said, yes. So I start walking to the freezer and this normal white bird comes out the back and she says, you hard of hearing. I said, sorry? She goes, he said we don't do it. And I said, listen, sweetheart, you do not control the Magnum business. If the stick says you've got it, then you have to give it. And she goes, well, we don't do it here. Bugger off. And I said, you bugger off. So I started to walk out, and then I went to the freezer, and I just got another chocky bicky Magnum. And then I started to walk out, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh. And this bitch has got me by the wrist, and she goes, put it back now. And I said, get your fucking hands off me. And she goes, put the ice cream back and I'll let go. So then I just snapped and I wrecked my arm, and I actually smacked her in the face with the Magnum as well. She feels the face and she just looked at me. And I said, yeah, well. So she started to walk towards me, and I thought, come on, bitch, you want, you go, bring it on. And then I look across, and at the bus stop where I was sitting before, Faye's pulled up. So I said, Jeff and out. And then I ran in the car and I said, quick, Faye, go, go, go. And I heard the bitch across the road yell out, get their number plate. And she was talking to the family that was giving me grief earlier. So all the kids huddle around and me like trying to read the number plate. And I think we got away without them getting the number plate. So I actually got away with the second Magnum, but I actually still have the stick. So I'll be able to get another Magnum as well. You want to mess with me, you'll realise I always win. So when we're driving off, Faye says, Cherylyn, what did you bloody do? And, you know, I told her the whole story, the boy and the ice cream, and it's my right to get the free one and all of it. And she says, Cherylyn, that's where me and Les go to get chips and scallops every single week. You know, it makes it really uncomfortable. And I said, yeah, well, they need to keep that bitch on a fucking chain out the back because she was rude. And Faye goes, oh, charming, Cherylyn. And I said, yeah, well, and she goes, she's actually a really nice lady. She's always nice to me. And I said, Faye, I've got a migraine. Can you take me to the station, please? I should probably go home. And she goes, yeah, well, you want me to take me back? And I said, no, take me to the next station. I'm not going back there. So she dropped me off and I went home and I told Terry the whole thing, and I said, I don't think I want to hang around Faye anymore. You know, she's a bit of a bitch. She always puts me down. I told him the whole story. I said she automatically just took the other bird's side. What sort of fucking friend's that? You know, so I thought, fuck her. No way. You know, stick it up your ass. So anyway, let's leave it at that. You can add me on my Twitter site at Cherylyn Barnes. Hashtag the mole at the milk bar. And then you can add me on my Facebook site, www.facebook.com/CherylynBarnesAU for Australia. You can add me on my Instagram site too, and that is at Cherylyn Barnes. And make sure you click subscribe so you'll be able to see all the YouTubes will come out before, and all the other ones will come out in future days as well. Alright, jockeys, let's leave it at that, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao for now, jockeys. Pussy kiss. We will find you, and you will fucking pay. You'll pay in more ways than just giving back the fucking money. Fucking scumbag. You fucking scumbag.